Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. Okay, once again, another week where seemingly nothing has visibly happened, but in fact a lot has behind the scenes. Indeed, I've actually returned to my university course, and I've now been presented with the new modules. So that's the first thing to talk about. So yeah, I finally got some non-YouTube news for the first time in a while. Okay, let's do this then. So, I've gone back, and it seems that I'm now in creative writing doing a unit called Treatment and Screenplay. I didn't realise until that point that there was usually a document that screenwriters would present that was something else that wasn't the actual script or a pitch. It's a treatment piece, which is essentially a very specific type of synopsis of the film and the methodology behind it, and just an explanation overall of what the plan is going to be. Kind of like if you were doing a pitch, but you're not actually there. And then, of course, they call you in later on, maybe for a pitch, it depends. Who knows, maybe in 2020 they just skip that process altogether or something. Or 2021, obviously now. I don't know. But yeah, turns out that that's something that's something to work on. And yeah, fair enough, now that I've noticed that, I've kind of seen what Alex Opio was doing a while ago. It was the 30th of December. Okay, primitive one day only. Okay, we can pass. Just checking. I'm going to try and go up top here because... Actually, no, I'm going to go back that way. Because this path is very muddy. I didn't realise at first how muddy it would be. Because I'm going down a slightly different route than I normally do in this forest. The route I normally take is up there. And I am down here. Anyway. So yeah, treatment and screenplay, we've just been working through that. Essentially like getting ideas for yet another submission. But this time an actual screenplay submission, not a half and half, or like a third, I mean, like we did before, or, sorry, mud, glorious mud, I think not right, they're calling it blood, anyway. So yeah, not a third, or a radio or stage play. No, we actually get screenplay this time specifically. I guess they were saving that for this particular module and this particular discipline. Obviously, we've got to actually do a treatment for it ourselves beforehand, but the second assessment will be a screenplay. So I definitely know what I'm in for there. And do I have an idea for it? Why, most certainly yes. And will you see it someday? Quite possibly, I don't know. It depends. I've got a lot of ideas that I've been presenting for university that I would like to elaborate further, because they're mostly extracts, because I'm not good at writing short form stuff, which is again something that I will have to learn to do for the short prose module eventually. But yeah, I'll probably develop those into Gacha projects in the future or something. Speaking of that, actually no, I'm going to come back to that. Because I want to talk about the Gacha projects, but not quite at the moment. I'll finish off the uni stuff. So, what else have I had? I've had the new drama module, which is the elective module. So, that happens to be acting through song for me. So, I've actually been practicing a song that's there's a couple of songs, one of them which is completely new to me. Well, not completely new, I've heard it many times, I've never practiced it myself. And then another one that I did in a musical, like, how many years ago at this point? 5, 6? Jeez. But yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to do a contrasting performance to those. Because you know what they're like with they want to see your range. I want to see two contrasting things. Actually, these were chosen by the tutor. eventually I've said that I can write my own songs, and that's what I offered to the tutor, and she said, yes, go ahead, you can choose whichever song you want, as long as it's a character-based song, something that you can act through for the actual module. To which I, of course, went, yes, of course, I can do that. In fact, I have several things lying about, like, for example, that Gacha musical that I did a casting call for a while ago, which, by the way, is still going to happen. In fact, we were working on that yesterday, to an extent. But, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, so that's still going to happen. And also another stage musical that I finished writing a couple of years ago now. And again, started 5 years ago. Once again, geez. That I never got to produce. In fact, my friend Dana was actually going to help me produce it in university, actually. That was actually immediately before COVID started. Not before, I mean, it was going around and we didn't know if we were going to be able to see each other further, but that was like the last rendezvous that I had in March last year before lockdown started for real, and we all either went home or stayed up or whatever people chose to do. In fact, she actually wanted to adapt into a screenplay herself for that. Well, not really have me adapt it, but her direct it. To which, of course, I accepted. I mean, I'm not sure how that's going to come across because it's set in ancient Troy, for part of it, in fact, most of it. So, good luck to her getting the locations for that. Unless he wants to borrow my shabby green screen for everything. But yeah, doesn't matter. Something for another day, I reckon. Well, obviously. I have a lot of writing projects that I've been putting aside, really. In last year, I keep on saying I doubled down on YouTube, but I really did. Like, I was going to publish a book beforehand, and I just like zoned in on YouTube for the longest time. Making the most of the influx of new people who were not at school anymore, not at work, couldn't do anything else, so they came around to watch my terrible stuff. Or anyone's, really. I mean, yeah, it was a great chance, and I took it, and it actually seemed to have worked, relatively speaking. I don't know, I could have very easily been at about 400 and something, 500 subscribers at this point. But no, I'm here wondering why on earth I've witnessed seemingly a climb and a downfall of my sub count multiple times. I am not going to go down there. Because yeah, for the last week or so, I've seen that I've gone from 860, which was like a boost that Emily gave me, like on stream, basically, because she did that on the Butter Bunch before, and actually both times we ended up going very under what we were before, and quickly recovered it actually on the Butter Bunch. But yeah, I've got to think in terms of recovery what I can do on here, on Jacob Butter, because I'm kind of stuck there. I keep forgetting to show my dad the hard drive and see if I can get that stuff done. Because quite honestly, what I thought I could do is work on a bunch of Gacha projects in the background, have all that easy content lined up, basically, to ease people over, as long as they don't, mass unsubscribe to tell me that it's awful. Which, reminder to everyone, like or dislike because your opinion matters. Like or dislike, please. That's what's going to help me. Not just abandoning me completely. Just letting people know. But yeah, where I was going with all this was, yeah, basically there's a lot of stuff, including that play, that I have actually put aside. And it's something that I do wish to return to. There's a lot of stuff I wish to return to once this all clears up. We were supposed to ideally go back on the 25th, but again, as I predicted, that's not going to happen. So, quite honestly, I don't know. I guess I'll just keep doing the YouTube stuff. So yeah, what I was saying before about the Gacha stuff, and I said I was going to loop back to it, is I've been really inspired for the past week because I've been talking with the editors and about, well, both the Mutant Girl and Siren Story, actually. The Mutant Girl in particular, actually, because I'm trying to remember exactly how this came about, but it was something to do with a conversation I had with Aiden, which he then left and Not Quality took over. And once I saw that, then she decided to take the opportunity to berate my visual technique, which again, I can appreciate. I know that, you know, if I were to complain about that kind of stuff, imagine how rich that'd be coming from me. I mean, bear in mind, like, I've torn an entire series that somebody worked on to shreds before. Not to mention other very popular mini movies, and basically just like roasted people I've collabed with to their face, even if you haven't seen all the examples of that, because they take so long to edit. Another reason why I need easy content, so I can keep you guys entertained. But yeah, in terms of that, I was then involved in a non-recorded, unfortunately, you know, technical review of the latest episode, because it was fair and only used the latest example to roast me, which makes sense, because also the latest example is reflective of all of our techniques. And then eventually that's when she discovered that I don't actually edit all of the Mutant Girl episodes anymore by myself. In fact, all of Through Her Eyes was actually a co-edited project. Usually it was myself and Monet and Aiden. So actually it was quite fitting that those two were editing some of the scenes, even though I got most of the ones of their characters, Felix and Empress respectively. Doesn't matter. Point is that it was a project between the three of us. Around the same time, William had actually signed up. William Tube HD, if you know him from the live streams. Oh, dog alert. That's fine. Just making sure I don't get jumped. Remember Walking Wednesday episode 8? The dog police? That was an interesting moment. Anyway, so yeah, William had signed up. Again, I can't remember why, but just out of the goodness of his heart, he came in, and he's never done a gacha thing before. Now, normally, having a completely new editor, or what, like, not a completely new editor, but someone who'd never done gacha before, working on the longest running gacha series on YouTube, would probably be a bad idea. But no, he sufficiently impressed me. I know that he's been trying to get into gacha. He's one of the people that I've very slowly converted. I'm carrying on the good work of Naseeb that she now no longer believes in, but that's beside the point. And so, I forgot what I was going to say again. But oh yeah. But he's sufficiently impressed me, and he had a bit of an issue with the walking cycles. It was a bit hard for him to figure out what to do on shortcut, but he worked it out eventually. That's another issue with the editors, actually. Like, everyone pretty much is using different programs to each other. Like, even Quatsi, who signed up after the procedure, just basically saying, like, offering to help, because I mentioned that before, I never like to ask people to help me on those things. Partly because, you know, I have two people already devoting time out of their own series to help me with mine. Again, out of the goodness of their hearts. But yeah, I do sometimes need to say I need some advice or I need some help, something like that. Because yeah, the Mutant Girl, I agree with what people have said, and in that conversation. It has a very generic visual style. And yeah, that's obviously stems from its roots of 2019, when most visual styles did not exist yet. But yeah, now I'm more interested than ever to figure out like what kind of way I can keep this going and expand it further based on everything that I'm doing. So that's where I am now, with now 4 extra editors, so 5 of us in total. So next episode of The Music Girl, once the casting call comes in, will feature 5 people. That reminds me, no one's auditioned for that yet. I need people to audition for that. Just throwing that out there. Because, well, actually, no, people have auditioned. Like, Emily and Dylan have both DM'd me. But as far as GLVA goes, it's a ghost town. And I admit, I think I might have killed it a little, especially with all the uploads and live streams and everything that have come in from that bot that I did not install for the record. I don't know why it's there. I think it's because that's the only server that I have that has sufficient nitro to sustain that kind of ping bot that goes after everyone. But yeah, once that started, I seemed to notice that everyone either kind of like muted the server, or they've left because the only people using it really were the group who were doing power holders, and basically no one else, I don't think. No, there was one other person. But yeah, shout out to Blackjack. Thank you for still using GLVA, even in its inactive day. Hooray. Alright, but yeah, in terms of that, I believe it's, people have still got, what, 4 days left to get, yeah, it's, deadline is the 7th, so, yeah, 4 days to get that in. At 2 PM EST or something, it doesn't matter. Ooh! I forgot I saw something there. I was about to bump into a squirrel or something. But no, I'm just finding this seemingly unexplored territory by me. I don't think I've been down, at least this far, along this area before. Interesting. Look at that ledge. I do not want to fall down that. So yeah, anyway, then I got talking about Siren Story because I started thinking about, I was talking to, again, Miss Devil, actually. Miss Devil comes to me sometimes for like story advice and continuity, etc., to determine my opinions about things and whatever. But because like since I reviewed her video of The Rose and the Gun, which has since been lost, actually, I need to redo that review. Again, this is on that other drive that I can't access anymore. But yeah, but yeah, she actually was using. She was actually like asking me again about a work in progress music video that she's had for quite some time. Do I want to keep going? Nope, because down there is wet and down there is sealed. So yep, on I go, back where I came from. Alright. So yeah, what was this? Yeah. But then I got thinking, because she wants to introduce more lore, because I said to her that the story that she was doing was kind of seen before a bunch of times. Which, for the record, if your story's been done a bunch of times, just add something unique to it. And she had. I mean, at one point she got annoyed that I predicted precisely what the story was going to be just from the work in progress that she gave me, because it was kind of obvious how it was going. But yeah, then she told me that she was going to do a 4-part music series and try to include all this brand new lore that she was talking about. To which I said, well, if you want to do the music videos, then so be it, but don't cram the entire story into it. You could do a series based on it, and then just have those music videos be a guide for you. So that actually is something that got me thinking about the Music Freaks. oddly enough, which I still haven't finished reviewing. But now that I'm looking back to that series, I noticed that, while again, Rosie Closey has like uploaded a bunch of the music videos separately from the actual video, which, to be fair, I was going to do with Siren Story anyway. But the music videos themselves seem to be where most of the effort goes in, basically. Like, obviously, the rest of the series, again, technical marvel, like I've always said. But the point is that the music videos seem to be the big focus as far as the musical series goes. Especially since, like I said before, I don't think it's that heavy on story. My apologies. It seems that I actually ran out of space and I forgot about that. So yeah, what I was saying before was the music freaks. Seems very music focused rather than actual story. I mean, yes, there is story, but again, also much like the Miss Devil stuff, not too original. I've seen a bunch of things about a band in particular, especially a band of rejects and such, or rejects in quotes. You know what I mean. But yeah, she offered a unique visual style, and that's what kind of worked. So this is what I was saying before. But yeah, in terms of the music videos, it got me thinking about Siren Story and how it's actually possible that if I were to make the music videos first, then that would kind of guide the story along, get people interested in the series. The series itself can be worked on in the background, and I won't have to wait for several months in order to release a new episode. Because, yeah, we're writing our own songs for this, so it definitely takes a while, especially if you're not the person singing and you have to explain how each song works, basically. Or you have an idea for it that just never gets fully developed. So yeah, I thought yesterday, let's go over with some of the visual people, some of the production unit that I've got in the group chat, and get talking about the ideas for the rest of the songs, and like the music videos. Or just plan out and storyboard the entire series and see where I go from there. Which is what I ended up doing, but again, it wasn't very precise, because a lot of people had to either go, or they had terrible internet connection, or they kept deafening themselves for no reason that they gave, really. Or they focused on other areas and started talking about other things, like the Mutant Girl. And if people wonder why I haven't stopped the Mutant Girl, that's why, because people like to talk about it. I mean, Aiden agrees with me on my philosophy of it having a cult following. But yeah, this is where, once again, I was the subject of an interference by not Quatsi. And this time was about the fact that people I should focus on one Gacha project apparently, and take a break and then go to a different one. Which, yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good idea, but if it weren't for the fact that the things take so long to make. She said that it was going to weigh down on the people working for me as well, which seems very interesting from the person who just signed up and was so desperate to work on something, on 2 scenes no less, as her first Mutant Girl edited project. I don't really get that, but yeah. Thing is, what I've seen from people who don't do voice-acted gacha is that they tend to have multiple things going on at once. In fact, even some people that do, I have servers that are grouped together because they're actually owned by the same person, are going to be on the same channel, but they're both voice-acted projects. Once again, surprise, surprise, they get cancelled, but that's beside the point. So I really don't know. It's a subject of debate, because on one hand I need to produce some stuff that it isn't just the Mutant Girl, because obviously the Mutant Girl only works to a certain extent. If I knew how to market it properly and get it reaching more people, I would have done so last year, or even 2 years ago, actually. So, needless to say, it's not really, yeah, I need something else. I need something to try new things and keep things going. And also keep the Mutant Girl going because, again, it's fun, it has a cult following, and people like to talk about it. So that's where I am now. That was my huge debate about what to do. Because on one hand, I understand that gacha projects like this take a long time to make because, you know, I've been making them quite literally longer than anyone else. So, or at least for longer anyway. So I get that. However, it doesn't take away from the fact that it does weigh down on me. And, you know, I was so desperate not to have a schedule for the Music Girl that I'm now having season 2 almost be a year old at this point, and yet it's still about halfway done, just over halfway done, because we've got 5 more episodes to go for that. I mean, yes, Through Her Eyes kind of threw that schedule off a bit, but yeah, people love Through Her Eyes again. It's something that actually got people interested in the Mutant Girl. So there you are. I think Emily wouldn't have auditioned if it weren't for the fact that she knew that that Through Her Eyes had existed and enjoyed it. So these things have their purpose. So yeah, Through Her Eyes, which is effectively another mini-series that I was doing, has that connection to it. And that's how I release the Siren story very sparingly in between each other. Maybe it can be like the side project. And yes, then it will become like the Music Freaks in a way in terms of release schedule. Right, I just solved my dilemma. I'll run that by her and see what she thinks, but again, it's not like I can do much because once again, I need to do something. And speaking of needing to do something, I need to figure out how to cross here because I've got a family. Oh no, just let the family go through. Look at that, it's gotten dark. I wasn't expecting to ramble on for so long about just this. But there you go. C'est la vie, as they say. And as I say, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. Let me know what you think I should do, actually. If you watch these and actually don't get bored by them, then go ahead. If you haven't auditioned yet for the Mutant Girl, then go ahead. If you're going to watch the stream today, then go ahead. Go ahead and do everything. But yes, on that note, whatever it is that you choose to do or not do, until next time, farewell.